Identity shifts quietly until suddenly it doesn't. Spring brings a clarity that makes you see yourself differently. And when your emotional season changes, the version of you that's been waiting finally steps forward. So today we begin your identity reset. The moment you recognize who you're becoming this spring. Now there's a moment every spring when you realize you're not the same person you were a few months ago. It doesn't arrive with fanfare, and it doesn't announce itself. It simply rises, quietly, steadily, and unmistakably. A new preference, a new boundary, a new clarity, a new way of responding to life, a new way of seeing yourself. Because identity doesn't shift in a single moment. It shifts in layers, and spring is the season when those layers finally become visible. Now, winter is a season of endurance, but spring is a season of emergence, and you are emerging. This is the beginning of your identity reset. Now, here's the first truth. Identity changes before you consciously notice it. You don't decide to become a new version of yourself. You realize you already have. You notice you're less willing to carry emotional weight that isn't yours. You notice you're craving softness instead of survival. You're choosing clarity over chaos. You're no longer shrinking to fit old expectations, and you notice you're drawn to things that feel more aligned with who you're becoming. Now, these aren't new decisions, they're new recognitions. Your identity has been shifting beneath the surface for months. Winter just kept it quiet. Now, spring brings it into the light. Now, here's the first shift. Listen to the version of you that's emerging. Identity doesn't ask for permission, but it does ask for attention. There's a version of you right now that's trying to speak. It's trying to speak through your discomfort, through your new boundaries, through your changing desires, through your sudden clarity, through the things you no longer want to carry. Now, this emerging version is not dramatic, it's honest. And the more you listen, the clearer it becomes. This is the first step in your identity reset. You listen inward before you look outward. And the second shift? You release the identities winter required. Winter asks for endurance, for holding things together, for being the strong one or the steady one, the responsible one. But spring doesn't need that version of you. Spring asks for openness, for expansion, for truth, and for becoming. So part of your identity reset is releasing the roles winter required, the ones that kept you functioning but kept you small. You're not abandoning who you were, you're making room for who you're becoming. And here's the third shift. You honor the identity that feels most like you. Identity isn't about reinvention, it's about recognition. You're not becoming someone new, you're becoming someone truer, someone more aligned, someone more grounded, someone more honest with themselves, someone who no longer negotiates their clarity to maintain old dynamics. So ask yourself, what version of me feels the most like home right now? That's the identity you honor. That's the identity you nurture. That's the identity you let rise. Now, identity shifts quietly until suddenly it doesn't. And spring is the season when the truth of who you're becoming finally steps forward. Today you listened, you released, and you recognized. This is the beginning of your identity reset. Now you take care and stay connected.